Air superiority. It's a thing in real life, and to an extent it's a thing in 40k as well. Aircraft in 40k are generally on the whole pretty cool. I mean, there's a few notable exceptions out there that are just bit of a swing and a miss on the old design floor, but on the whole, they are pretty damn cool. And gaining air superiority in a battlefield could mean a big deal in the game. I mean, win a dogfight and you've got the only flyer in the air, you've got the maneuverability to touch pretty much anything on the table and rain spiky, explosive, or whatever flavour of death you deal in down upon the heads of your enemy. But, a lot of the times, it's a case of cool idea, execution, not so much. It's not as bad as now as it used to be. I mean, it used to be pretty iffy. I mean, they had that entire thing with the flyer rules, like where flyers did like dogfights off, technically not on the game board, where they'd have a dogfight and the winner could come on, that kind of thing. They've tried a number of things to make flyers work, but the fundamental problem with flyers is they have to interact with the tabletop in some way because of the bases. They've got to be held aloft by something. And more often than not, piss off phone. More often than not, there would be times, you'd hear about times or experience times where flyers, not so much used for air superiority, more used to limit maneuverability on your opponent's part because of the fucking bases on the things. You know, you put your flyer in a certain position, your enemy can't move there. Technically, your flyer should be able to interact with those things. I mean, that's technically up in the sky and these guys are on the ground, but because of the base, you can't move within so many inches of it. You can't just, you restrict your enemy's movement, and just daft scenarios would occur off the back of that, just limiting your movability. Well, maneuverability rather. Now, GW has done things in 8th edition to try and rectify that, but the problem is never ever going to go away. Unless, in my opinion, and it is just my opinion, you redesign the bases of flyers from being the oval that they are now, just the standard oval base, to something that provides stability but doesn't take up as much floor space, thereby limiting the amount of interaction the actual model has with the tabletop. There will always be interaction, because, again, it needs to be held aloft by something. Unless you, jury rig something. Yeah, I just got an image of, those toys you have over babies' prams that, hold the sort of, little toys and, spin them around. Just, hook one of those up to the side of your gaming table and just have the flyers going round and round with the top. No, but, ridiculous ideas like that aside, you're always going to have to interact with the table in some way. So, by redesigning the footprint to be as minimal as possible on these things, that's the only way I can see going forward where you're going to stop silly scenarios where flyers interact in the wrong way with the units on the table from happening. But, 9th edition, preview today. Well, not today. I've got around to covering it today. Yesterday I was wiped out after work, so covering it today. But hey, my problems. They're making steps in the right direction. Will this fix the issue? No. Will it minimize it so it doesn't happen quite as often? Probably yes. Also, flyers now will be able to, well, I say now, in 9th edition, they'll be able to bugger off the table at any point and enter what's called strategic reserves, which allows them fundamentally to come back on, as per the blurb here, aircraft and strategic reserves, basically come back on as long as it's more than 9 inches away from enemy models. So you don't come back on a table edge, you can come back on wherever you want. So, like a deep strike really, makes sense. Aircraft are meant to have that maneuverability and are meant to be able to zip around the tabletop quite quickly. Now, the key thing is this little paragraph here. Well, I say paragraph, this section of bullet points right here. This is how the models on the ground are going to interact with your aircraft models. So, as of 9th, models can move within an enemy aircraft's engagement range. So that is, obviously, an inch of an inch, as it stands now. That's your engagement range. Models can move over aircraft and their bases when they make any kind of move. Again, so you'll be able to freely move through aircraft bases, around aircraft bases, shimmy to the side, shimmy back and forth. You know, as far as you're concerned, that aircraft base and that aircraft is not there for the purposes of moving your models. Aircraft can make a normal move or advance even when within engagement range of any models. So, the true is, your models can move freely through aircraft, and the same in reverse. That aircraft has no bearing on your models, and vice versa. Units can make a normal move or advance if they are only within engagement range of an enemy aircraft. Just clarification there, you can advance, move as normal. And when a model performs a heroic intervention, piles in or consolidates, ignore aircraft unless the model moving can fly. So, basically what this entire series of bullet points boils down to is, for all intents and purposes, that aircraft is not there. But what I'd say to that is, that aircraft has still got that oval base, and blowing up today. And you are always going to have to be aware of that oval base. Always. I mean, you can't finish with your models on top of it, can you? Because that's just not done. You're going to have to move that aircraft eventually. So, again, back to my original point. The problem is minimized from these bullet points. The problem is reduced. That grey area is getting smaller and smaller, which is a good thing. Has the problem been cured? No, because you've still got that interaction between the aircraft and the board, which again, in my personal opinion, will only ever be sorted one of two ways. Magnets, if we ever get to the point where we can just have these things floating mid-air, but seeing as though we don't live in the 1950s version of the future where we all live on the moon, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Or making it so flyers don't have oval bases in the first place. Making it so their base provides support, maybe some kind of tripod setup, but minimizes the the footprint it leaves on the table. That's the only way you're going to truly get to close to getting rid of that issue. So, herding to some extent, I don't see it going away, but it's not going to be a valid tactic anymore. This also goes on to give you a list of the aircraft that are going to be, you know... I'm just going to have to turn this phone off next time round. I don't know who's messaging me. I've got no fucking friends. But, yeah, just a quick list of all the aircraft there of who this new rule is going to affect. Take note, though, there are no monsters on there. So, as far as strategic reserves go, your big flying monsters... They might not be able to leave the board, but you can still do movement shenanigans with them. But then again, other models still can reach out and touch you, because they can engage you in close combat. So yeah, I think as far as flyers go, I want to see more of them. I think this is a step in the right direction, short of redesigning the bases. And yeah, it's good. As far as 9th edition goes so far, well, quote-unquote 9th editions, no one's officially calling it that yet. Well, not as far as I'm aware. Only good things so far. One or two things that I'm like, maybe, but it's like really minor stuff. Like the kind of thing that I'd have to really sit down and think about to try and poke a hole in it. But yeah, all good stuff so far. Later today, as I'm doing this recording, it's just gone 1 o'clock on the 13th of the 6th. We're doing the preview to see what is in the box of the new edition of 40k box set. So we had that leaked images, but yeah, it should be fun doing that later today, and I'm sure me, Jamie, and Chris are going to get together and chat utter bollocks about that, going, oh yes, this is good, this is bad. But until then, guys, I will catch you all next time. See you later.